then I got you tuna salad.
Thank you.
And a San Pellegrino.
All right.
There's children everywhere, please. There's children running around. All this chaos on the bus.
Thank you.
I want to thank Will Trollock right now for all the toys. Thanks, Belle. Sorry, do you mind?
No, not at
Okay. So these children look really healthy, but
Thank you.
apparently
They are
not.
healthy now.
They are healthy now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Belle.
In spite of it all.
Okay, let's start by turning off the air conditioning, I'm afraid.
Okay.
And don't worry, that last story with that lady was very, very upset. She is getting some help. People around here are going to rally around her and look after her. And so good old Oklahoma people looking after their
There's a
peeps.
good community here.
Yeah, so she's going to be taken care of because that was it was very upsetting, that last one. They're all upsetting. All right, guys, tell us who you are.
I am Camden Carr-Bearden, and this is my husband, Matt Bearden.
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 Okay, and how many children you guys got?
3 children.
How old are they?
My son, Con, just turned 8. Lane is 6.5, and Joss will be 5 in a couple months.
They look like a chiropractic family, but they are not.
No.
Okay, so what? So you guys, you get pregnant with your first child. Could I have said you two are crazy anti-vaxxers?
Oh no, I actually used to make fun of anti-vaxxers.
You made fun of
I
the
did.
anti-vaxxers. What did you say about them?
I laughed about them and like they're crazy and you know.
We didn't really make fun,
Well,
but
I
we
did.
thought they were a little bit loopy.
little loopy and because science, you know.
Here's an idea. Take these toys all the way down there.
No more
They're good. It's fine.
Okay.
Just take the toys away. So you used to make fun of anti-vax. So were you afraid of like polio and things like that, or did you not really think about it?
I didn't really think of it about it really. I just trusted the system.
I can still remember Camden saying, because we had a neighbor who had family members who were possibly affected, and I can remember Camden talking about autism was diagnosed with a much broader brush. Now I can still remember her saying that.
It was better
And this was when
diagnosis.
we-
Better diagnosis, yeah.
And that was before we saw all this data. And
Well, and we experienced it ourselves.
yeah, and I mean, I was very skeptical, but just the things our kids dealt with, Camden can tell you more about it.
So, did you get pregnant? How old's your oldest man?
He just turned 8 a few days ago.
So, did you get vaccinated while you were pregnant with them?
I think I got the flu shot, but around this time, well, a couple years before that, I was started on a drug called Remicade for my Crohn's disease.
Right, you have Crohn's disease.
I have Crohn's disease. I don't say it. I'm in remission. I haven't had a symptom in 5 years because I've healed myself.
You've healed yourself. I want to hear more about that as well.
Okay.
So, but for now, so before you had children, you had Crohn's disease.
Yes, I was diagnosed around 12 years old. I actually have, now everyone has it, but when I was diagnosed, hardly anybody had it. I do have some family members that have it, and I have a genetic component I just found out that makes you inclined to have it if there was a trigger. So I don't even know what triggered it. I don't even remember getting shots. When I was a teenager, when I was little, I remember getting 1 shot. So when I was going through this illness, I don't remember getting any shots at all.
Okay.
They tried, it's a new drug, fairly new drug, Remicade, and it's an infusion, and you get it every 8 weeks, and it's a kind of a type of chemo drug. And it's what's called a chimeric drug, which means and I've just been finding this out, so it's kind of a trigger for me.
Right.
But it's a mouse and human protein that's bonded, and it's also filled with polysorbate 80. So I was taking this the whole time during pregnancy, during breastfeeding, and I breastfed my kids a long time during that whole time.
And I don't even remember that. I mean, I don't even remember that she was on that at the time.
So I remember even go to my doctor when I was pregnant with
And it's
Con.
an experimental drug. I mean,
Well, it was new. It was new. They didn't even really.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went into my GI doctor and I said, "Is it safe to breastfeed?" And he's like, "Well, I don't really know. I think it's fine. You know, didn't discourage me, anything." And so all 3 pregnancies, and I'll come back to that a little bit. But
Okay.
so all 3 pregnancies was on that. But let me just tell you this real quick, because this is what I just found out like 3 days ago. I was just trying to, before coming here, I wanted to do more research about this drug, and it says in the insert, if you also tell your doctor if you are pregnant, plan to become pregnant, are breastfeeding or have a baby and were using Remicade during your pregnancy, tell your baby's doctor about your Remicade use. If your baby receives a live vaccine within 6 months of her birth, your baby may develop infections and die. And also, if you received, you should never have a live vaccine while taking this drug. And I took it for 10 years, receiving the flu shot, the mist, MMR. I mean, and I'm MTHFR, homozygous. So I mean, it's like all this stuff is like.
How do you feel about that?
That we dodged a couple of big bullets.
She's lucky to be a.
Yeah.
And my kids too. So, of course, I didn't know all this. When my son was born, he was 2 weeks late. Big, beautiful baby. Immediately took him away, and he comes back. And I remember just thinking about this the other day, crying nonstop, like screaming, not fussing, screaming nonstop. And my mom even said he cried for hours. And then I was just looking at pictures the other day, and he already had a rash. So very quickly he developed eczema, terrible, terrible eczema, baby acne, which I just think his little body was just trying to detox, and and it eventually got staph in his eczema. And I go in, the doctor's like, here's some steroid cream. And I just knew at that point, I started doing research about the hepatitis B, and I knew that was like, even at that point, here's a sign. I still continued to vaccinate him. But I went ahead and went on a gluten-free diet, and it started to go away. I kept vaccinating him, and he spoke late. He walked early. He spoke late, and he's just a big, big, beautiful baby. And he started having what they called their failure to thrive. He'd like fallen off the growth chart completely. And I was like, that is so weird. What is going on? I wasn't making the connections. Well, I got pregnant with his sister Lane when he was like 9 months. So there's a lot going on, but it's kind of in the back of my head, this is really weird. So I ended up having a C-section with him as well. So, because anyway, 36 hours of labor, I couldn't do it. And so I'm still, I'm not really sure. So when she was born, it was a VBAC, it failed. And I said, I really don't want her to have a hepatitis B shot.
You know what? It's actually music to my ears to hear your children talking in the back.
We're blessed. And so when they finally bring her back, she is rigid like a board. Like babies curl up and still in their, like they're still in the womb. She was stiff as a board, and wasn't she? You couldn't bend her legs or arms. She had her hands like this, and she was super stiff. And keeping in mind, I've been on this Remicade the whole time. And
no one at any time has told you. Spell Remicade for the peeps.
It's REMICADE.
And that's for the treatment of Crohn's.
It's one of the. It's like there's another one called Humira. We
hear that advertised the whole time.
It's very similar.
Is it still on the market?
Oh yeah.
That's wicked.
And so and the thing is, it did help me, but with consequences. If they had said, listen, if you're going to get pregnant, you probably shouldn't be, like they said, you need to make a choice of breastfeeding or being on this. I've been like, I'm not taking the Remicade anymore. I just never had a choice. They just always told me, they never told me any different. I walk in to get my infusion, I'm giant pregnant. No one thought, maybe we should really check this out. Here she is getting this infusion every 8 weeks, and she's big and pregnant. So I vaccinated Lane, so I stopped vaccinating Con at 18 months, and I got his records the other day and realized he'd had 38 vaccines by the time he was 18 months. And Lane, I stopped vaccinating her at 4 months, actually, and then she got a DTaP later. But she was so constipated, like as a baby.
She had stool problems.
Like we had to take her to the urgent care all the time.
She would bawl and scream because she couldn't go.
She was like impacted. And I was breastfeeding. And at that time I was on a gluten-free diet, semi-healthy diet. And this is a God thing, but we got fired from our pediatrician because we had a balance of like $25. And
congratulations.
Yes. So, months later, when she was a year old, I got pregnant with Joss. And so at that time, I had we were homeschooling, I had a lot of friends that weren't vaccinating, and I was like, wasn't sure what we were going to do. And I was like, well, this is the thing, is that I don't know why me too, we choose to vaccinate until we get more information versus the other way around. Instead of saying, let's hold off until we get until we research it more. So I go in, she was a planned C-section, but it was a wonderful birth, and healthy. She was 2 weeks early. very, very healthy. And so I go in, and pediatrician's like, what do you want to do about vaccination? I was like, well, I just really want to, think about it. We want to delay. We want to select it. We want to research. She's like, well, I really think you need to get the DTaP.
DTaP. Wait, you or
No, the baby. Joss, my youngest.
wait? How old is she?
She's almost 5. She'll be 5 in a
No,
couple.
no. How old was she when they said that to
Oh,
you?
like 4 months.
No.
And so I was like, okay. So she gets the DTaP. Now my record said she also got the Hib, but honestly, I don't remember.
Of
that.
course she did. Goes hand in hand.
And immediately the DTaP screaming, and I was like, I told Matt, I was like, we're not ever going back. And this office we ended up going to was actually they only required the DTaP for you to be a patient. That was it. So we go on. We just stopped going. They're healthy at this point because we're eating a really good diet, and they really are healthy. They don't ever get sick, thank God. So moving along, she walks late. She never really starts talking. She's just babbling, just like, having a conversation but really not saying anything. And we finally, am I missing anything? I feel like I'm looking.
No, you're doing really well. Just keep going.
She just never really talking. And so at this time, I'm starting to research more and figuring out, the DTaP is loaded with aluminum. And when I was pregnant, the thing is about Remicade, it stays in your system for at least 8 weeks. And on here it says, you're not supposed to be vaccinated with live viruses up to 6 months. But also, if you have an open blood-brain barrier, you should be not vaccinated at all, especially with something full of aluminum.
And Joss tested for lead.
Yeah, and she has high lead. And I'm MTHFR homozygous with all kinds of other stuff, so I think the girls also are probably. And so get her tested. She's in speech therapy. She tested high for lead. She also, right after the DTaP, of course, she got RSV immediately following. Seems like that happens. Immediately following.
Happens a lot.
All the time. And
It's just a coincidence, by the way.
what just coincidence? Sick baby. And then we finally go back in, and I'm just like, listen, I had to take her for a well child so she can get speech therapy because she needs speech therapy. Couldn't understand anything she was saying. You guys, 3 years of age.
I love it. You're talking about speech therapy, and you're like, you guys shush. Anyway, she couldn't speak.
And so she could. A stranger at 3 should be able to understand most of what she's saying. You couldn't understand anything she was saying. And so we took her to speech, and she said, well, I have to ask you something. And I was like, what? She said, are you guys going to get the DTaP today? And I was like, no. She said, well, you're going to have to leave our practice. And I was like, give me my referral. Bye. And so we got kicked out for the exact same vaccine that injured her. And
Unbelievable.
I know.
Unbelievable.
So we've been healing her.
At what point did you guys go from the you thought anti-vaxxers were crazy to the oh my gosh they're right, or the ex-vaxxers as we all are?
Right. Well, I think for me the seed was planted really with the very first seed was my doula, and she was my birth educator with my son, and she's like, what do you guys think of you don't have to get vaccines. That was all she said. But I was like, oh, okay. But that was the first step. And then when he got when he had the hepatitis B and he had eczema, that was the first. And when I went back in after he got staph in it, and we were talking to the pediatrician, and the only thing she was concerned about was that we were co-sleeping. She's like, I'm really concerned that you're co-sleeping because I'm afraid it's going to affect your marriage. And I was like, I managed to conceive 2 children in 18 months. We're doing okay. Like, that was the only thing she was ever concerned about, was that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a joke.
Unreal, that one.
Yeah. She's like, I've seen it happen to marriages.
Whatever.
Like, okay. So I feel like we are, there's so many stories that are so much worse than ours, but
an injury is an injury.
I know.
And your children are injured.
Right. What?
Well, I was just to say, just Lane, we've gotten past Con and his eczema and skin issues, but Lane, our second child, when she developed stool problems,
And that was scary.
it just wasn't natural.
I mean, a 4-month-old breastfed baby isn't impacted.
Man, it was awful.
Screaming,
Not compared to what these other parents have dealt with, but
This is your story, your moment. Don't worry about the other stories right now.
I just, that was kind of an eye opener for me. It just didn't
But
seem
the
right.
thing is, but it still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It took Joss, who only had 2 vaccines, to have a bunch of issues. Joss, can you say hi?
Hi. How old are you?
4.
You're 4 years old. I love your everyone's loving your Don't California, My Oklahoma t-shirt.
Thank you. We like them too.
They're a
We wear
great
them all the
colour
time.
as well. Rich Trolloc, if you're watching, note that colour down. That's our
And
next,
that's the
next
Oklahoma
t-shirt.
state flag color. So.
Yeah, it's a wonderful colour. Great t-shirts. I'm going to have to get one of those. Where do they sell those?
Well, a small group of us just made some, but we're going to make some more.
Make some more.
Okay, we'll send you one.
Um,
But with Joss, we have been doing biomedical. For about a year, all the supplements. We just started Andy Cutler chelation protocol this past weekend. So we're hoping that's going to make a
Leah,
difference.
you've done a lot of work with your children, haven't
a
you? It's very
ton.
important. Now, first of all, tell me how you dealt with your Crohn's. Don't have to go into
Okay.
too much detail because
Okay.
we don't do healing, but I am fascinated in how you dealt with that.
Okay, well, what happened was, this is another God thing, is that when I was working at a child development center at this hospital. That's why I got all these vaccines. It was a benefit to the people that work there. So it was like babies through kindergarten.
Right.
So and I was one of the teachers. And the department had gotten sold to another company, and I decided to leave at that time. So and after I had her, I lost my insurance, so I couldn't afford Remicade. It used to be like $4,000 or $5,000 every time you got it, and so I couldn't afford it anymore. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to do a diet. And so what I did first was, and this is funny, I went to my GI doctor. He was a nice guy, and I said I'd started a vegan diet, just a completely clean diet. And I said, it was actually the Daniel fast. A lot of Christians do the Daniel fast. And I started doing it, and I felt really good. And I went to my GI doctor, and I said, I'm going off all my medicine. I'm just telling you. And he's like, okay. I said, I'm doing a diet, and I feel great. I said, why don't you tell the people about diets? He said, no one wants to hear it. He's like, one other person in my practice manages or friends with diet. He's like, no one wants to hear about it. But that's not even giving anybody a chance. And a lot of them don't even believe that diet makes a difference with bowel issues, which is insane to me. So then vegan diet was good for like inflammation at first, but now I'm on a paleo, really strict, clean diet as much as we can.
So paleo diet is good enough for your...
Yeah, I mean, it's very strict. Like we don't buy any processed food when we try not to. Only water.
Do you eat potatoes?
Very rarely.
Yeah, because the jury's out on that. Some people on paleo say you can, some say you can't.
I don't really follow. I just think it's paleo-esque. It's just real food, really. I mean,
We call it, our version is the Tommy paleo
okay,
diet.
well there you go.
So you just
I'll start
have-
saying that.
And that means you can just adapt as you go.
And we have chickens. We eat our.
But you eat organic or...
Yes, all organic.
That's
it's
the key,
available.
isn't it? To try and
I
get
think so.
GMO free and...
Yeah, I mean,
It's so expensive, but I just think people just have to eat less.
well, to me, that's my healthcare. I mean, that's my
We're eating
medicine.
less.
We do eat
I've
less.
lost about 20 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put... People don't seem to realise, I know it's hard, but you can't put money on what you put into your body.
Right. No, it's
just,
true.
you know what,
It's priceless.
You don't need healthcare
And
if you
see,
feed right.
we're older parents, so we have to be around a while. But as
You're not older parents.
we started,
I suppose you are, actually. I just suddenly realised you're only actually 4 years younger than
Well,
me.
it's funny, his
Mine are all
friends-
grown up. Look at them. You're the little.
His friends have like babies that are, grandbabies that are their age, and he's like just starting.
Yeah.
But as healthy as I look, I have a lot of like brain issues. I have foggy brain, pain. I was dealing with overgrowth of candida really bad. That I could feel it. It felt like what fibromyalgia must feel like. Of course, my doctor didn't even know what to do about it, so I had to go on a candida diet. So I'm researching all the time, and I feel like every day I wake up and I'm like, well, how do I feel today? What am I missing in my diet? So I can't just live. I'm constantly trying to figure out what I can do so I feel extreme fatigue.
Right.
Extreme fatigue. And it's funny that it's not even having anything to do with my Crohn's. It's from the medicine and all those vaccinations I got as adult. Because most people wouldn't even think because I don't talk about it. Even growing up, I never talked about my Crohn's to my friends. I just don't talk about it. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me or treat me differently.
What kind of reaction do you get when you guys start saying, hey guys, you meet your friends and you say, the ones that used to be your mates when you were pro-vaccine, just like, Hi. So just so you know, vaccines are unsafe and ineffective. What happens?
Well, I'm very outspoken on
There sort of is like,
is it gross?
it's unbelievably gross. It has coffee spilled. You really
He
do
might not care.
Is it okay if you
Just
If
go
it's
outside.
away,
Just find
take
it.
him in?
Yeah, he can go, and I'll just
For
get
his house, you may not want to go in there.
Okay. Bye, Tom.
Okay.
What was I saying? My
Your diet and just what you deal with every day.
Oh, our pro-vaccine. Okay, well, I've lost some. I wouldn't say I lost friends, but I have some really good friends who stopped talking to me.
Yeah.
'Cause
Bye.
I'm really, and I'm not talk about the other two, but I talk about Joss a lot. Jossie, come here. Want to come sit up here with me? And about the struggles that she's had.
Come sit on here.
Come right here, baby. Come right here.
You're a very pretty girl.
Thanks. And you know, if I'd said she had a reaction to, let's say, aspirin or antibiotics, I feel like they would have been like, what can we do to help you? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But because it's like a religion, then no one reaches out. But on the other hand, I have met some fabulous people. I mean, two of my best friends I've met through this situation in our Oklahoma's for Vaccine and Health Choice group, which is an awesome group. So I have support. But what's interesting is I have friends that send me messages and ask me about it, like, I think I might have a vaccine in your child. How do I get an exemption?
Right.
So I've had people come to me and asking me about it and wanting to know more information. But I'm pretty strong personality. No one comes up to me and says it's a bunch of bull or anything.
Okay, so on your campaign, did you know? Because you did not know
Right.
that any of this could happen. What is your did you know to the young parent of today?
Well, mine is, and I'm a believer. I mean, did you know that we're fearfully and wonderfully made? Like, if we're made in the image of God, He didn't make any mistakes. Our immune system is not deficient if you support it with good food and healthy lifestyle. It doesn't mean you're not ever going to get sick, but being sick isn't bad. That's how our immune system's built. I just wish somebody, see, I never had anyone really come out. I never knew anyone that had a vaccine-injured child, but with what I know, I feel like I have to say something. You know, you have to sit down, baby. Here, let's switch spots.
So,
Oh, sorry. There you go.
what is the biggest thing that you didn't know that has affected your children's lives?
Well,
I mean, one of your children carries an EpiPen.
Yes. And it's and my parents have horses. My mom and stepdad have horses. My other parents, my dad and my stepmom live out in the country. So we're around, and I mean, and we use homeopathy too. So I try to give him a homeopathic remedy before we give him an EpiPen. We've never had to use the EpiPen yet, but I mean, he can die from that. I mean, it's an anaphylactic reaction.
Oh.
It's bad. It's scary.
People underestimate allergies,
Oh gosh.
especially when they're teenagers.
Oh yeah, and see the thing with him is that, so we go out and we feed the horses and we feed them animal crackers, and so the other kids will put their hand in, and last time it happened and they fed them animal crackers and he was sticking his hand in and eating them, and that's how he had a reaction. It was that he wasn't even touching the horses, but
Right.
they had touched the horses, and he swells up, his eyes start closing, he starts sneezing. It's scary.
I don't remember any of this stuff when we were growing up.
No.
No peanut allergies, never heard of a peanut allergy.
No.
We ate gallons of peanut butter at school.
Oh,
I went
gosh.
to boarding school, and that's what we did there. We just ate.
My
scoops
husband
of it.
has lived off peanut butter in college. I meant to say, I forgot say one thing about Lane, is that when Lane was, after she got the DTaP around 2 and 3, she had terrible anxiety
Right.
and attachment issues. I mean, anger, and it was really, really bad. And we actually treated her with, you're sweet, homeopathy, and we're lucky to have a classically trained homeopath here in Oklahoma, and she's a different person now.
I have to say, and I never endorse anything, anxiety, homeopathy is amazing for anxiety. If you have a teenager, like I've had, that suffers from anxiety, homeopathy has been absolutely brilliant, so I highly, highly recommend it. And I actually think, guys, it's great to try and sort of do it yourself, but if you know, there's nothing better than a really good homeopath.
Oh, she's wonderful. I mean, we had probably 3 sessions with her, and it has made all the difference in the world. I mean, the anxiety was so bad that she couldn't be without me, but she hated me at the same time.
It's a really underestimated issue, anxiety. It's a massive problem that we've got.
And see,
right
I
now.
suffer from anxiety some now from everything I've been dealing with. I'm hoping, I'm going to start the chelation process soon after I get her going. So to help, hopefully, have some healing.
All right, now, is there what else do you want to say? What else do you want to tell the people? What other part of this story do you want to tell?
Just do your, and I know people here, but doing your research. It's, when I was first pregnant, I researched the kind of birth I want. I wanted an all natural, unmedicated birth, which is funny because I didn't have a problem with vaccines, but I really didn't want epidural or anything. I researched all the wraps and baby wearing, but spending that same time on something that's being injected into your baby. It's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Again, we go back to what you put in your body, whether it's food, vaccines, cream even on your body, whatever it is. Really be careful. Your body's your temple. Really,
we've done a full 180. I make all my own lotion. We don't use... our goal is to eventually get out to the country and,
And says the girl who's just eating a packet of chips doing this interview.
Hey,
just
it still
so you
happens.
know,
It still
I am
happens.
do not practice what I preach, as you all
Well, and you're
know.
traveling, and it's so
I'm
much
just
harder.
passing on the info here.
But isn't it hard when you're traveling to find places that have food that...
Yeah, and I was starving.
Right, no.
And then I found a packet of chips. I don't know where they came from, and I ate them.
They're coming back in.
Okay,
I'm going to see if my husband wants it. Where's your dad?
He's coming.
Honey, do you want to add anything else?
Oh, I just wanted to say
Come over here first.
you had asked what our friends,
Oh yeah.
you'd asked what friends, I think some of our friends think Camden's a little crazy, maybe.
So speak up a little bit.
Thinks I'm a little bit crazy.
She's very proactive and adamant about it on social media, so I think some people probably, maybe some family members, but
I tell you what, some of it is some people are full of fear. So when they see you do that, it's something inside them makes them think you're attacking them for being a bad parent when you're not. You're trying to warn them, please don't do it.
I think that's what the reaction is with a lot.
I think people also themselves might start and then they take it out on me. But honestly, I just don't care. I hit 40 and I stopped caring about a lot of what people thought and stuff.
But we're just responding to what we're dealing with. We don't have an agenda or anything.
Yeah.
We're not getting any money out of this, and we're not getting any kickbacks or anything. It's just what's happening.
It's biomedical treatment. It's expensive. It's all, pain. It's a struggle. Paying for all that.
It is
So expensive.
Here our generator's struggling. It's going. It sounds like a monster. It's like.
It's not too hot. It's not too
It's
bad.
okay. Yeah, you're
Not
lucky.
yet.
Some people
Not yet.
start to.
About 2 o'clock it's gonna.
Yeah,
gonna warm
it's
up.
struggling. We get it mended and it lasted 2 days. But anything else? You guys are an amazing family. Your kids
you.
are wonderful. They're talking. You are on the right track. You're feeding
They're
them
very
well.
healthy. They
Yeah.
if we weren't feeding them well, I don't think it would be like this. But Khan is, and we homeschool. He's super smart. he had the most vaccines of all of them, and he's doing fantastic. Besides the EpiPen, which is huge, but they're all doing really good. We got a ways to go with Joss, but I feel like we're on our way.
Do you children know what you want to be when you're older?
I want to be a train engineer. I want to be an animal protector.
So wait, come over here and tell us. I want to hear from all of you one by one. Wait
Wait,
till I get ready. Okay, where are you? Come stand here. Right, what's your name?
Con.
How old are you?
A
And what do you want to be when you grow up?
train engineer.
Perfect, that's exactly what we want. Thank you for telling me. Next.
The world needs a lot of those.
How old are you?
I'm 6.
And
look
what's
at the
your
camera.
name?
What's your name?
Lane.
And
Don't be
Lane,
shy.
what do you want to be?
An animal protector and a veterinarian.
Nice job. Okay, what's your name?
Josh.
And how old are you?
4.
4. And what do you want to be when you are older?
Mom, and I want to help adult a veterinarian. And I want to be a singer.
And a singer.
Yeah.
A mom.
You want to be a singer, a mom, and help animals. Good
She's
job.
already a singer, so yeah.
Oh, I love it. Can you sing me a song?
Joss, you want to sing? Hey, Jossie, you want to come sing? No.
Okay, that's fine. Next time I see you then maybe.
When she gets out of the bath.
All right, well, you guys can all sign the bus. Have you done that already?
No.
Okay, well, there's someone outside with a book. Who's got the book, Val? No, someone took it off. So we'll go find you that and give you a number.
Awesome.
There's a ladder. If you want it, you can climb up. But we have no insurance, so do not fall off. At your own risk, go up there. Yeah, they're saying wonderful children, wonderful family.
Thank you.
And we've had slightly, it's so weird with this reception. We had great reception this morning, and it's still saying it's very strong. So I think we have a little bit of censorship going on. We always do. We cover a story of a dead child from vaccines. We're censored every single time.
Well, the trolls on Periscope were in full effect. That first story you
For the
did.
first one.
Oh my gosh. I actually had to stop watching it because it was bothering me.
Because the truth hurts. You know what? Guess what, trolls? We are winning. We won in that respect. We are winning, and we will finish this off. So
Amen.
be on the right side of history. Yeah.
That's exactly it.
We know who our boss is, and we know
Yes.
who's going to win. So we're all good. Okay. I actually wore my Team Jesus t-shirt yesterday, and I got into the elevator in the hotel, and I spilled some water by mistake. And I said to these guys, "Don't slip on this water." And they
Right.
went, "We're not going to do anything while you're wearing that t-shirt, Team Jesus."
Did you see that?
We're good.
Someone out there has a "Not Today" Satan shirt on today. I was
Yeah,
like,
I have one of those.
love it.
And I told everybody who has a teenage daughter, put them in a Team Jesus t-shirt, and no one will come near them.
Okay.
They
well,
are so protected.
We need two of these.
Everyone runs, all those little pervies, they run a mile.
We'll go
Okay.
potty.
All right, we're good. We're coming off, and we will come back on again soon.
You guys did.
To be on TV.
Yeah, you did.